Our mission. Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics, such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here with us this evening.
Yes, we are so grateful to have Daniel with us. I'm sorry I muted and unmuted myself a couple times there before I was able to get on. Um, I'm always so excited to have Daniel here, and I think that I've said before that some of the most incredibly evidential readings that we've had were with Daniel John. And this wasn't something that he wanted to do. Basically, it fell onto his lap, and I'm going to read his bio and you'll understand a little bit better. In January of 2017, while out to dinner in Boston for a business trip, Daniel sat next to a new co-worker, and their lives would change forever. As they started to get to know each other, Daniel started getting visions, pictures, and feelings that he did not completely understand. He had had this happen before, but when it did, he would just deliver the subtle message and didn't think much of it. But this time it was different. It was much more intense and powerful. After about 45 minutes and many tears, they had no doubt that somehow his aisle mate's deceased husband was with them in spirit. The messages her husband was relaying to her were spot on, things Daniel could never have known about her and her family, and confirmed that he was very much still a big part of her life, even though he passed away. Some of his messages were funny, yet some were more serious, but they were healing to her, and that made her feel so good. The messages were of pure love for her and for her children. It was awesome. Even after this, being a skeptic, Daniel did not believe that he could possibly speak to people who have passed away. Maybe he had gotten lucky and guessed all those things. After all, it was against everything he had ever been taught. Growing up Catholic and then becoming born again Christian in high school, people did not communicate with the dead. It was strictly forbidden. Daniel was taught in his Catholic elementary school that no one could talk even to God unless it was through a priest. Not only that, he thought that when we pass, we go to heaven or hell, and that was it. After that night, he was on a journey to find out what this life is really about, regardless of everything he was ever taught. This is exactly what he asks of you. Be skeptical, but be open-minded. You can check out Daniel's books. The first one is Why Are We Here? And the second one is Journey Through Many Mansions on Amazon. And then also find out more about Daniel on his website, www.danieljohnmedium.com. And without further ado, please join me in welcoming the amazing Daniel John. Welcome, Daniel.
Can you go over that bio again? No, I'm just kidding. All right. So, listen, thank you for having me. These nights are tough, but also I hope that having on guests like myself and others provides value and healing more than anything else for you as parents. Okay. Um, usually when a medium comes on, and I will honor a spirit if they come through, and that may happen tonight. But one of the things Elizabeth and I talked about with respect of providing value to you as parents, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit and then open up the questions on anything. When you hear the bio, if something kind of sparked a question, I want you to feel free to ask. What I want to preface, I guess, tonight, and I have nothing planned, is there are certain things I've learned from doing this work. This happened when it first happened to me in 2017, as you heard, I felt very comfortable doing it because it just felt natural. It felt full of love. I could see the healing in people. And it wasn't for about maybe 6 months after I like came out as a medium that someone had messaged me and said that what I do is demonic and there's evil spirits and it's not really the souls of, especially, and she mentioned children, it's just people fooling you, the devil fooling you. And when I first read it, I was like, man, I got to stop this stuff. I can't believe it. I know that everyone seemed to be healing, but if the Bible says this, I better stop. And then within like 10 seconds, I was like, wait a minute. At that point, I had done 50 or 60 sessions. They were full of healing and love and beautiful, accurate, wonderful, amazing things. How could this be evil or the devil? And so what I did was I took it upon myself to kind of unlearn the lies, untrain the mind that was K through 6 Catholic and Youth for Christ and Saved by Jesus and the Bible and everything like that, and kind of step back and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to erase it all and let God show me, let the universe show me what to do here. And it was so overwhelming over a period of probably about a year to a year and a half. Did I come upon this confidence to, I don't want to say no, because you can't know anything. You'd be ignorant if you say I know something you can't prove. And I try not to be that. But with every ounce of my being, with every experience I experienced, and I read hundreds of books about Jesus and near-death experiences, and I by no means know it all. But I came to this understanding where I realized that what I was doing was not only like okay with God or the right thing to do, it was what I needed to do, what I had to do. It was a passion that I had to fulfill. And I've done over 1,200, I counted approximately last time, between 11 and 1,300 sessions for parents who've had their children transition. And there are overwhelming themes that I would like to share with you before I open up the questions. And for some of you who've been to mediums or have had mediums on here, you've probably experienced some of these things. But oh, hey Nancy, I didn't know you were part of this group. I don't know if I referred you here, but welcome. And one of those themes, and I'll share a few of them real quick, and then I'll open up the questions because I think in a forum where you all can feel free to ask some questions, not only can the person that asked the question learn, but we all can kind of benefit from some of the experiences. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've done thousands of sessions, and spirit, God, your loved ones, non-physical, has a lot of very valuable information for us if we're just willing to listen. And so that's kind of what I ask of you is when Elizabeth read that little bio was like, I had to step outside my comfort zone and open up my heart and know that some people are gonna, I said this in a podcast. I get called a Bible thumper by people in the medium and psychic community, and I get called the devil and demonic by Christians. It's so you're gonna get people in your life that maybe say, oh, well, I know you lost your child, but you shouldn't go to a medium, or I know this. You follow your heart, and your children through a medium or through other people will guide you when your heart is in the right place, and that is just based in love. And what I tell people, especially parents who've had children transition, is to give yourself grace. Part of the reason why we do what we do is because when you grieve, it lowers the vibration to kind of put a little bit of a gap between connection with spirit and a distancing. So our job is to kind of bridge that gap. I've had parents who've had sessions with a medium, and after one session they don't even need a medium anymore, and that really is the goal. I've had sessions with parents who connect with their children every day in one way or the other in powerful, beautiful ways, and then other ones who felt that they can't feel them at all. And it really is based on kind of the grief level. So if you give yourself grace and understand that what you're going through is natural, and that you have a community like this where many people with compassion and love has put together this group, it can allow you to connect to your loved one in spirit without even having to go to a medium, and being able to look and be open for the signs that they can send to you. The most important thing I've learned, sorry, by doing this work, is that, and it makes these things are going to sound cliche, but I'm gonna open up to questions after this, is in this case, your children are always with you. I know some of you believe that, or in fact only know it, some doubt it. They're with you. And the way I can explain it is the soul that you are living in the human body, this energy is always connected. We've been proven that we're energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed. I always say Jesus, in a non-dogmatic way, came here to show us that we don't die, right? And our loved ones are still with us in one way or another. And so please know that they're with you. They see the new babies. They know when you celebrate their birthday. They know when you have a thought and tell that you miss them. That's number one. They're with you. Number two, they do not want you to be sad. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to be, but from all the sessions I've had, Spirit has told me that they want you to continue to live your life in the best way that you can, even though they're not physically here. That is probably one of the most important things they share with me, besides letting you know that they're still with you. They want you to smile. They want you to think of them and celebrate their lives. I can't tell you how many times I've had sessions where a spirit comes through to thank their parent for doing the fundraiser or doing the bracelet or doing the bench or the tree, or, whatever it is. Do that, because that energy of love, they can feel that literally right now. If you sit there and say to your loved one, your child in this case, I am thinking of you, I miss you. They hear it, they know it. Please, I beg you. That is one of the overall themes. One of the third ones I'll share with you before I open up the questions is an overwhelming amount of children are so concerned about their friends. And I'll say a name, and I'll think, why don't you just tell me your name? They'll say the name. How many of you have had sessions and the medium brings up their friends' names, right? It happens to me all the time. And the child in spirit wants you to reach out to their friends, because, and they flip the script. Imagine their friend looking at their phone. Their best friend had passed away, and it's mom or dad calling them. They feel honored, they feel blessed, they feel connected to that child. And I in a mild way, put that responsibility on the parent, because the children tell me all the time, I want you to, know I'm here, I'm with you, you can connect with me. And then also, knowing that you can reach out to their friend also connects them to their friend as well. Because think about it, maybe you're in this group and their friend doesn't really believe in mediums, or is still, and this group provides a lot of healing and a lot of open-mindedness and open hearts to some of these spiritual things that kind of the regular community, give or take, don't have access to. So you can be that conduit of love to give grief support for your own child to one of their friends. They share that with me a lot. So make sure you engage. And it's a exchange thing. It's not like you're just doing it for them. That child will also bring back some memories or share some things about your child as well. So keep engaging with them. But those are the top three things that I can tell you to let you know that they're still with you, that you can reach out to their friends. And I'm drawing a blank. What did I say the second one was? I'm trying to think of it while I'm talking. They're
So
with you.
the second one is a good question. I mean, I'm so fascinated about the friends thing. It's terrible because I just want to say about the friends thing really quickly. Mark Ireland, who is the co-founder of Helping Parents Heal, he had 9 of his son's friends, Brandon's friends, over to his house, and Jamie Clark came and did a reading for all of them very soon after Brandon passed. And this was years ago. This was back in 2007 when he was doing this. And he just thought that it was important for these kids to know that Brandon is still here. And I thought it was really amazing that he did that. So let's go back to the second one. Irene.
I think it was that they want you to be happy. I think that's what it was, that they want you to continue on in life and do the good things and celebrate them. I think that was the second thing. I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure.
Nancy helped us. By the way, Nancy is one of our affiliate leaders, and she's a caring listener, excuse me. She is amazing. So she's a huge part of Helping Parents Heal, and she's also written several books. But thank you if you sent her our way. We're very lucky about
Oh,
that.
I did really? Okay, good.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
It
that
might.
Nancy. Oh, well, there's two. I was okay. Either way, yes. Okay. So, but yeah, and I want to open up the questions, but I think it's important for you to know that based on the between 11 and 1300, just say 1200-ish sessions I've done for parents who've had children transition, Those are the overwhelming themes. And I hope that gives you peace because, I'm not making it up. I've experienced it. It's beautiful. And I think when someone has an experience like that, that's able to share with a group and there is some belief in that, it can bring a sense of healing and hope to someone in your situation. Because they always say, well, you'll be there. And guess what? When it's your time to transition, they'll be right there waiting for you. And then you can go on and continue. And I would say I'll throw in a fourth thing there, right? And I didn't write these things down. These are just kind of popping in, but you will have, and I can't guarantee it, I don't know it, but from my experience, you will have more lifetimes, more experiences with your children again. I can't promise it, but I would bet my life on it. I really would. That when your consciousness leaves the physical and you return to the non-physical, which is where we come from, you will rejoin with that spark of energy, which you know is your child in this life, and you will go do infinite things. I firmly believe it. So Eric Jordan's dad has a question.
Okay, good. So let's unmute Eric, and then
He's
let's.
unmuted.
Can you say hi? Oh, I got you now. Okay, and I'm going to spotlight Daniel as well. Go
Hi,
ahead.
Daniel. Thanks for being on the call tonight. This is great. Um, really, I'm very involved in the men's, the fathers group, and just I'm very empathic. I reach out to people all the time, and I'm trying to be more effective. I'm trying to kind of understand how I can how I can do more than just be an effective listener and that type of thing. There's so much hurting out there with the men's the fathers that are um, just less vocal and have less options to share what they're going through. And I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I had a Reiki session today, which was awesome, and I was talking to her about I just what do I what's the next step? Where do I go from here? How do I become better at helping people? That's my sum it up.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing that. You have a soul that I always say there's people who just have this compassion or passion to help others. And what I would tell you is, and I say this in a non-dogmatic way, is prayer. And what I say prayer is, and it's funny, I had this is my cup tonight. Pray without ceasing. Prayer changes everything. And then on the verse is a prayer without ceasing. But what I'll tell you is if you have this feeling and it's strong like it is with you and it's lighting a fire, how can I do this, what can I do more, send a prayer to me is an energetic thought with a positive intention. For your case it would be like, hey universe, hey God, whatever you believe in, how can I be of greater assistance to you, to the universe, to God, to the world, to because we all are God, right? So set that intention out, be passionate about it and repeat it. And here's the best part, relax and let it happen. And I'll give you an example. I even talked to Elizabeth about this. I want to be a speaker. I want to travel the country and speak to people exactly about this. I feel like that's my calling. But right now, I have 3 kids. My mom's going through some health issues, and this is not my time. I don't even know if it'll ever be my time, but I've made the energetic prayer to the universe to say, hey, if and when you're ready and I can help people on that level, I want to travel and speak to people like you at a conference or wherever it may be. So for you, consistently send that intention out with love, and the universe will make it happen for you. And the beauty of that thing is you don't have to do anything besides exactly what you're doing, which is making a push and an energetic impression to make and allow that to happen. In the meantime, while it's manifesting, relax and enjoy and do what you're doing. I've also been told that these people, not you in this case, but someone in your case may pray, pray, pray about it. Wait. But God or the universe is using you every single day in the parents group. Maybe if you go to the store and you stop someone and say, hey, so I've noticed, and I posted this on my Instagram story today, that sometimes it's the little itty bitty one at a time things you're doing, which you don't realize you're doing, and God or the universe is using you exactly in that way. So in your case, put the intention out there and enjoy the in-between time, and then just let it play out and happen. Because the one thing I've learned through mediumship, there's no mistakes. Even the things you read on the news and these things, oh, if the plane didn't, everything is happening for a very specific reason in your reality. If you put the intention out and you trust and let it play out, and then enjoy the time for when it is playing out, life becomes beautiful.
Oh,
Thank you. Very
thank you.
well said. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric, for coming on and asking that question. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the spotlight. We have a lot of other questions in the chat box. Can I maybe ask you a few of them? One of them is first from Marina. She's saying, could Daniel please suggest baby steps to start connecting with our kids? And I think you already said that raising our vibration is one of those things that could really help, but maybe you can go into that a little bit further.
Yeah, it's a great question. I talked about it in both of my books, and I'll do a little plug. Yeah, they're on Amazon. They're 11 each. But in the first book, especially, I talk about one of the things Elizabeth just talked about, which is raising your vibration. What does that mean? We are all energy, and there are spectrums and highs and lows of energy. When the energy is high, of a high vibration, love, compassion, forgiveness, kindness, smiling, listening to music, going on walks, beautiful, loving, feeling good things, those are higher vibration things. Addictions, fears, anger, jealousy, frustration, those are lower vibration things. So when you are going through grief, and this is why I beg you to have grace, it is very difficult to be happy and joyful when you had a very difficult situation happening. So some of the other things that can raise your vibration are meditation, Reiki, which Eric talked about, going on walks, listening to music, vacation, doing things that can make you strong. There's a verse I talk in Matthew 7:24 about building your foundation on rock. If you, like in Eric's case, we'll just pick on Eric, right? He wouldn't be able to help other fathers and other people if he didn't have a solid core, a base core of a high vibrational thing. He went and got Reiki today, and his soul and his body told him to go do that so that he could be a better, a more efficient and effective conduit of love, medium, helper, to people that he gets called to help. So for you, I would say step by step, if you're at the beginning and you just had in this case, a child transition, and I'll send you lots of prayers, is meditation, prayer, faith, trust to understand that this is part of something that unfortunately had to happen. It's an experience. There are no mistakes. It's part of the reality. Nancy and I had actually talked about this in her session. And then when you trust and you eventually get to that acceptance, I feel like, and again, it's not an easy, I just say it like this, it could take years. But as you start to read and understand a little bit more about who we are and why we're here and what we've come to do, you'll better be able to connect to your children without a medium when you do those high vibrational things. And I think the first step to get there, and it's a 5-step process, is acceptance. It's a very, very hard thing to say in this case, because it's something none of us would ever wish for. To accept the fact that it happened. Now what? And then it's trust. Are they really in spirit? Are they really with me? Show me, but trust it. Have an open mind, have an open heart. Same thing we said to Eric, put the energy and thought out there that you want to connect with them. Raise your vibration by doing those high vibrational things I talk about in here. And then same advice I gave to Eric. Sit back and enjoy as much as you can and let them connect with you. But you have to be aware of the signs, right? It could be music. And I talk about this in my first book as well. And there's a ton of books out there. Teresa Caputo's books are amazing, but they talk about how spirit can communicate with us. But when you open your heart and mind to know that they connect through songs and numbers and license plates and pictures and Bible verses in some case, and you just let it happen and trust it, there's a higher probability that not only you'll receive the messages, but you'll be more aware, which means you'll get more.
That's wonderful. And I wonder also, we have a lot of very interesting questions, but there's one that I think is really fascinating from Fire Tablet, which is not a name, so we probably have to rename this person. But
Could
um,
be.
as a Shining Light parent, we learn so much from you and other supportive mediums. My question is, how do you learn what you teach us? So could you tell a little bit about that?
That is so interesting because I had that thought recently, like, where did I learn all this stuff? It's only from my experience. So to answer the question, most of it is some of it's from personal experience within my sessions. Some of it's from, I probably read about 150 to 200 books. I read all like John Edward, Teresa Caputo, Neil Donald Klotz, write a lot about Jesus. Um, And all these other authors I've read, and I kind of, and then if you haven't read Conversations with God, it is the best trilogy I've ever read. And I take all of that together and kind of come up with my own understanding. And I say they're understanding and beliefs. These are not truths because I can't claim them to be truths. That would be ignorance. But I would say most of them are from experience. Some of them are from books. And then a few, maybe some sprinkles in of, other random things, but probably mediumship experience and then a lot of I travel for work. I've been in medical sales for 20 years, and over this last 7 years I've listened to books on tape. I could absorb all of them when I listen to them on tape, and so I've read like 150. So I think I've combined them all to this kind of understanding. And I say this with we all have the ability, when you resonate, when you are at a high vibration, you resonate with truth. And if you look up the word resonate, it talks about energy. You can sense and feel truth. Now, I still say truth is objective, and we're not going to get into, I can get into some of these semantical, theological conversations. But in the end of the day, even though I think truth is subjective, there are certain things that can feel and sense that are accurate understandings of our existence here in this reality.
Wonderful, good answer. And let's see, Yen Mia is saying, do you believe in reincarnation? A medium told me my baby will reincarnate into my family's members or a friend's child. But that medium also said, I will see her again when it's my time. Can you explain more? How can I see her again if she will reincarnate into a different person? And this is something people ask all the time. So
Love it.
if
I love it. Sorry to interrupt you. I just get so excited because I'm a big Jesus fan, and I don't call myself a Christian. I don't mean to offend anyone, but I don't, because I have my own beliefs, but I really believe he came here and taught us some pretty cool stuff. And if you read in John 3:3, not only does Jesus say you need to be born again, in Matthew 17 he refers to reincarnation. It's kind of hinted at throughout the Bible, but in the end of the day, short answer, yes, I do believe in it. The long answer, and I'll try not to be too long, is if you've ever seen The Matrix, it kind of explains a little bit of what I'm talking about. So you kind of have to step, and I always felt like Jesus, when he explains some of these concepts to people, it doesn't make sense when I say this, but this is what I've come to understand. And this is the short version. You are a spark of God. You are a soul, the real you. It's living in a body. The body's not you. It's a temporary experience, but the real you, the spark of God, the soul, they'll call it, the energy it's infinite. It never started. That's why I laugh at Revelation and Genesis. There's no beginning, there is no end. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just is. That's beyond human concept. So if you are a spark of God living in an experience, I've come to understand that this spark of God includes everything. Luke 17:21 says that the kingdom of God is within you. So that soul, that spark of God, contains everything ever, all information, all DNA. You can just access it, right? So when it comes to reincarnation, from the human perspective, a soul in that lifetime would come back to live as another soul in that reality. I don't think it's as black and white as you think it is. My son has the same name as my dad, same personality. I think it's my dad, but it's not my dad, because the character of my dad can only be my dad. But the soul that lived as my father, there are certain energetic pieces, right? Because don't forget, fragments of energy in one soul, there's probably billions, could reincarnate and have an experience in another soul. That being said, I've also been told that when we pass, everyone is there, including our living people, because we only send a spark of our soul into the body. So I've heard that when we pass, and again, you don't notice till you get there, all your loved ones are there, even the ones that are alive. That's part of the reason why they don't miss you, because part of the soul is in the non-physical, and part of the soul is experiencing the physical experience, but the part of their soul can be in multiple places at one time. So yes, in reincarnation, yes, that child or what the medium told you is probably true, but it's not the grandma coming as the daughter, for example. It's a spark of a piece of that soul has come to experience a reality within your reality as a part of the same piece of that soul. That's the best way I can say it. So yes, reincarnation, but it's way more complicated than we can understand. What I will tell people is instead of trying to understand it, because even Jesus said this throughout the teachings, Buddha said this, Muhammad, a lot of these spiritual teachers said you cannot understand these things. God didn't program, or the universe didn't program us to understand these things. So with my son, I don't think it's my dad, because my dad has come through in sessions, but my son's sitting here living. I still think part of his soul is living through him, even though it's not my dad. But instead of worrying or trying to understand it, and I'm not saying you are, it's a phenomenal question, just enjoy. Because, like, I'll look at my son and think of my dad, and I'll even say to him, "Hey, Dad, thanks for coming back to be my kid." And even though the human avatar of who he is has part of my dad's spirit in him, that doesn't mean he's my dad. That's the best way to, but it doesn't take away from enjoying messing around with him and laughing and smiling when he does things like my dad does things.
That's so amazing. And I just want to say that with this huge, um, the soul that is allowing parts of the soul to come down, from what I understand, we actually are with our kids on the other side. This is just a piece of us that's here. And so we're not missing out on 1 minute of what's happening with them. And
Vice
they
versa.
understand that, we don't necessarily understand that, but I just think that this whole concept is so fascinating, and I'm glad that you explained it so in such a succinct way. And I think that that was great for everyone to be able to hear. We have a lot of questions in here about suicide, and I think that it's important to maybe answer one of them. For instance, do you believe that a spirit that was lost to suicide hesitates to reach out due to being ashamed of its actions? I know this isn't true, but I want you to maybe better explain it for everyone, because it's important for all of these parents who've had children transition by suicide to understand that it's just an exit point.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you already answered it. No, I'm just kidding. I always preface, and this is kind of that person, whoever asked the question, where do I get my understandings from? Which I think it's a great and valid question that we should ask a lot of people. From my experience, and I've done, I don't know, 400 or 500 sessions, so that's been the case where they took it upon themselves. There's some overwhelming themes. Most of them, 99% of them, have no regrets. I've had a couple, but they're not regrets in the way the human would understand. They're regrets in the way that it happened, or the way that maybe some things played out. But since there are no mistakes, it's just a soul reacting to that. But as a whole, there's really no regrets. And the reason, I think, is because of what Elizabeth just said. It's part of a possibility of an exit point. There's a great book called Your Soul's Plan. It's by Robert Schwartz, and it talks about this topic, and it talks about it in a phenomenal way. So, another theme from these cases is that they're okay. They're not in some burning, fiery, it's just not true. Okay. And the reason I can say that from my perspective is because I've channeled souls who have taken it upon themselves, and they're okay. And some of them, a lower percentage, but 25% of them are like, glad to be out. I have to be cautious when I talk about this in front of groups and things like that. But as a whole, almost half, I'd say, are just like, you know what, it was my time. I had to go. Sorry to do it that way, but we're good. Move on, move on, kind of blunt thing, but they're okay. Some of them do explain or make me feel that there are things that the soul needs to kind of work on next time they do come into human form on their next experience. But this is going to be a very hard thing for people to understand, and it's gonna ruffle some feathers in here. But I will stick to this till my death, and some people might disagree with it. And it comes as part of this conversation. I don't believe in objective morality, and what that means is I don't believe in right or wrong. I know that sounds wild to people, but please read Conversations with God. The universe, or God, doesn't judge on what's right or wrong. We are all sparks of the divine, living and having this experience. There are things in this world that are unpleasurable, and they say, like you would say as a human, it's wrong. But God, the universe or God, doesn't look at it that way. We have free will. We have a map of an outline of this experience, and here you go. You can do things, but if you do it, there's gonna be a result. It doesn't make it wrong. But if you go have a drink, or 10 of them, and you drive a car, there's a possibility in your reality that you're going to get in an accident, or something can happen, and or you're going to be in jail. So it's more cause and effect than it is right or wrong. So it's not wrong from my perspective to have a person do that, but there are certain cases where the soul maybe could have made a different choice, not in the actual fact of the passing, but maybe in the way that it happened. But that's very rare. What I tell people is if it happened, it was supposed to happen, it was supposed to happen that way. The little nuances and things like that are sometimes, and it's very rare that the soul may have a little bit of like a regret. But as far as the actual transition of a soul, especially in that manner, this is from what I've learned, a soul cannot exit the human existence or reality unless it's their time. That's why when you do a lot of research on near-death experiences, a lot of people say, they sent me back, it's not my time, it's not my time. That's why you have hundreds of thousands of failed attempts for people to kind of transition, and it doesn't work because it's not their time. So from the perspective of the action, it's not wrong. It's okay. They're okay. They often know that you missed them. And then I'm getting a name. I don't know if you said this name or Steve. I just have to say Steve or Steven or Stephanie. It's an ST name. And I get the number 11 connected to it. They also make me feel like you did everything you could to try to cheer them up, but I feel like it was just their time to go. I hope someone connects with that, but hopefully it will give you peace to know that the way that they transition in a macro kind of standpoint, it was meant to be. It's not wrong. They're okay, and there's a high probability that that was one of the ways that was their exit point to go, even though it could be tough in the human perspective. And then the last thing, if something happens in your experience, there is nothing. It was completely known as a possibility as a soul before you entered this experience that would happen. It can give you peace. And this isn't like a convenience thing. Say, oh, that happened. I knew it was going to happen. When the soul, that's why you have deja vu, right? From what I understand, when you incarnate into the human body, there's billions of possibilities. I know it seems crazy, but if a soul in your reality passes in that way, then your soul that was a possibility that would experience. And sometimes it's almost guaranteed. The words like possibility, probability, and percentages based on what Robert Schwartz says.
And Robert Schwartz is wonderful. We've had him speak to our group many times, and his books, again, Our Soul's Plan, Our Soul's Gift, and Our Soul's Love, actually are the three books that are really interesting to learn about soul plans. And soul plans were a little difficult for me in the very beginning, because who would ever decide before you ever come here that you're going to have one of your children transition? But once you start thinking about it more, and especially understanding that there was absolutely nothing that we could do to change what happened, and to be able to move forward and do good things with what has happened, and knowing that they are completely fine. They're better than we are. They are healthy, happy, and home, and we are still here in school. So anyway, I have some other questions here. Jill is saying, I just wondered if any child crossed ever think that they want to stay on this earth because their life on earth was so good, but when they passed, it was their exit point. So do you ever hear anything from people in readings about this?
From the soul?
From the soul, yeah.
For the children, not a child soul, from what I can remember. There are some cases, not a child that I can remember, where the human part of the soul, the human part, the avatar, the human, wanted to stay. And they made it a point to say that in a session. And in fact, it's coming back to me. It was a husband. This is funny. I'm remembering this. This is wild because anyway, the husband came through to tell the wife because they had a perfect life and he just passed. In fact, I think he passed like suddenly. And he came through and he said, this is crazy. I'm remembering this. Spirit must be giving this to me. And it gave her so much peace. He's like something along the lines of, man, I loved our life and I would have loved to stay. And oh my gosh, it's like it was yesterday. And he said, as soon as I got there, I was pissed. I was like, what the heck? I died? And then he turned around and was like, oh, okay. And he went into the into the light. So it's funny. That was years ago, but I feel like it was maybe someone, it was here, but no, this is children. But it was a woman who lost her husband, and he came through and he had that experience. That was one of the only times, the majority of the time, the soul is so accepting because the soul knows infinitely more, really, than the human does. So, yes, the human often is not ready. Sometimes the human is, but I would say more so it's really not. But the soul, the true part of you, knows it all. It knows its exit point, but we are hidden from that. We have I call it deliberate amnesia so that we can have the experience. We're here to have the experience. And when it's our time to go home, and I think we have windows of time, it's just our time. And as a soul, you accept that. So it's very rare that the human, or at least in a session, the soul makes me feel or understand that the human was not ready. But most of the time, the soul, if not all the time, the soul is ready to go.
And a lot of times we have parents who say that their children have already let them know that they think that they're going to be transitioning either once or several times before they transition, or the parent himself or herself knows that this is going to happen. And that was the case for me as well. But Steve is saying that sounds like my situation. So I guess the 11 and the Steve that you were talking about earlier, I just wanted to bring that back. I don't know if you had any message or anything else that you needed to say to Steve. I could bring him up if you wanted me to.
Yeah, we can give him a little session if he connects with the 11, the Steve name, and then the
Definitely Steve, someone else is saying. So Irene, could you
I've asked him to unmute. Hi, Steve.
so Steve,
Can you
let's
speak?
and then we need to spotlight you,
There
but
he is. Why don't you wave so Elizabeth can see you?
I'm having a hard time with my screen now.
I'll look for him, Elizabeth.
Okay. I'm just
Steve,
seeing
where
little
are you?
vignettes here. I got him.
Here he is. Okay, I found him. I'll spotlight him.
I got him. Okay.
Okay.
Hi Steve, you connect with the 11 and how do you just a short version, how do you connect with the 11?
Not as much the 11, Steve, that you mentioned.
Anything with January 1st, the 11th of the month, 2011, or someone whose birthday's on the 11th, birthday or passing is the 11.
Well, my mother passed on the 11th of December of 22.
Okay. Did let's see. Did mom transition before the child?
Yes.
Okay. So that usually is a symbol for me to let you know that sorry for the loss of your mom and your child. My goodness, Steve. But to let you know that she was there when your child crossed. Okay. If that was ever a thought, then the 11 would be the validation because that's her birthday to let you know that she was there to, help the child. I also feel that the child, believe it or not, has a significant amount of people there. So I think it's comfortable for you to know that they know a lot of people there. It's very rare, actually. The spirit doesn't usually tell me that because they're younger, but they do know a lot of people. So that means either the child had a lot of people in their physical experience who did transition either before or after they did. When they show me a bell, that is usually my symbol for thank you for taking care of me. But in the way I felt it before, it made me feel like the child wanted to thank you for doing everything you could to save him or her to save them, and it feels like in many ways. I hope you understand that. And they're showing me the Tasmanian devil. So is there something with Taz or Tasmania or the devil, or is that was just they were like that, they were just kind of all over the place, or is it a symbol? How do you connect with the Tasmanian devil?
He was all over the place with just with his condition. It was Addison's, an autoimmune disease, and he just couldn't sit still. He was all over the place and exhausted at the same time.
Okay, and as someone in your reality, okay, so it was so he didn't take it upon him because it came up when we were talking about taking it upon themselves, correct?
No,
Okay, he didn't though.
no, he didn't.
Okay, so spirits has showed me that in the past for like because if he was funny and he did, it usually is my symbol for like I'm not with the devil, I'm not in hell. But I feel like maybe he's being more symbolic of being kind of all over the place. Do you connect with 23? 23 could be the 23rd of a month, February 3rd, like 2-3, or someone who's 23.
12/23 is when he transitioned. It
Oh,
was the year he transitioned.
that's his transition date.
Correct.
I'm sorry for your loss. Can you understand that he would say that you made his transition as comfortable as possible?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
making me feel like he's kind of showing me like layers, right? So I don't know if it's pillows or whatever, but I think it's just a symbol for me for being comfortable as he transitioned. That you kind of did you put a lot? I mean, I know this sounds kind of obvious, but did you put a lot aside to make sure that he was comfortable and that he got
Yeah,
a
I did.
before.
I did everything I could to make sure that he, one, he felt loved, but two, that we were trying to get on top of his autoimmune that we didn't know about.
Okay. So yeah, it's a 23 to me, especially if it's a day transition, is to let you know that, oh my gosh, you said 12/23, like right before
Yes,
Christmas.
yes.
Ah. And then,
Well, no, no, no. 12, 2, 23.
well, either way, it's still Christmas time, but the 23
Yeah,
was the year. Okay. All right.
correct.
Um, what was I gonna say? Slow down. Oh, he's still doing it in spirit. The 11. So it's mom. Oh, has your son come through before through a medium?
He just came through the other night,
Okay, so this might be
Tuesday
mom.
night.
Who has the blue eyes? Who would show me Frank Sinatra and talk about the blue eyes?
Oh, both of them.
Okay.
Probably mom though.
Yeah, I feel like this is mom. Do you have a neck up? Do you have like a necklace or does she connect with pearls? Or is there someone named?
I don't know.
Is there a Pearl connection? Pearl Harbor, Pearl necklace, someone named Pearl?
Pearl and that Colton bought a pearl pendant to put on a necklace of his, a big round pearl.
Is your son though, not your mom?
Correct, that's my son.
Okay. I don't know if they were funny or if they were like, were they close to each other?
Oh, tight.
Because they make me want to say to you that they're having fun together in heaven. They're really like, doing fun stuff, like, mischievous kind of stuff. Like, I'm going to pick the apple from the tree and throw it over here. Kind of, I don't know if they were like that, but it kind of
Oh
feels
yeah.
like to let you know that together they're like mixing it up in heaven and they're having fun and doing all these things. Um, I don't, I know this isn't a full session, so I got to be conscious of that.
Yeah.
Did you go into a bank today?
Not today.
Why am I being put in a bank? Does
Uh
someone work in a bank or
no, I'm a massage therapist. I don't know, maybe his business account. I just had his name removed off and my name put on his business account
on the bank account though? It's got to be a
on the
bank
bank
account.
account. Uh-huh.
Oh, you know what's funny? It's so funny because I walked in the bank and like he made me feel like nobody's there or I'm not on the check. I guess I should have said that before you. So I guess to me, it's not only a validation that you just did it, that's okay. I feel like I have to tell you that he trusts you. And I don't know if he picked you or whatever, but I feel like there's a lot of trust and faith in you that you're going to take care of what needs to get done. Um, and is there a Carrie or a Karen or Kara?
No,
C or K, like Kathy or Callie or
we got Kayla, his best friend's sister.
best friend's sister, but close enough to mention her name,
Yeah, it could be.
Caka. And what about that best friend? A good friend of the family?
Elizabeth. Colton's best friend, Elizabeth is her name.
Okay. I don't know why I'd mention the sister's name. Maybe so Carrie, I get you can kind of take it, but Carrie, Kathy, Callie, it's like a cat kind of thing. And then who was in the service?
My dad,
Okay,
Colton's
he's still here.
grandfather.
He's
He's
still
still
here.
here.
Okay. Is he a pain in the ass?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, is that your mom's is that your dad?
Husband. Yeah, it's my dad.
Okay. All right. Are you doing the best you can to do what you can for him as much as he'll allow, I guess?
Oh yeah.
Okay. There's an acknowledgement of that. Um and I did you do a lot for your mom too?
Yeah.
Because I almost feel the same kind of message about like with your son as you did everything you really could. So what I'm feeling, what I would tell you from what they're telling me is, you're a good dude and you really did as much as you can within what you could with your parameters,
Right.
and then where do the chocolate chips come in? I'm gonna just kind of, I know we're in consciousness of time, but
Colton's favorite was chocolate chips.
okay. To me, that's a message of like, I don't think I know I don't know how to say this without repeating myself, but like I don't think you could have done anything more as a dad, to be honest with you. You
Yeah,
know,
that's one of the things I struggle with.
So make sure you know that. And I bet you though people would tell you that, but maybe you don't understand it and it's a perspective thing, but it's his way to like, did you buy him the chocolate chips in the store? Or did you know he liked them or did you enjoy that he had them or make sure he had them? That's just an example. But if that's just one of the things he loved, you allowed that. You know, even if you didn't buy him, but this is his, because as a medium, I could say, oh, you did everything you could for him. But if chocolate chips was something he loved and you know he loved them, this is his way to be like, Dad, there's nothing more you could have done for me. Okay. Did you guys go to
Chocolate chip, chocolate chip pancakes, probably 5, 6 days a week.
Oh, good. And you make them?
Yep, I made them.
Yeah, no, not. I mean, I actually just made them this morning, but not many dads do that. And then did you guys go to concerts together?
No, we went fishing together all the time, but never made it to
Well,
concerts.
what I saw was Red Rock. So you know how like Red Rock in Colorado where they have the concerts. So was there
Yeah.
something with Red Rocks? Because I just
2 years ago, we took a fishing trip with my youngest brother and went to San Juan's and floating down the river. It was all red rocks
okay.
down the river.
And this is a good example for all the people that are still on here. Like I, in my mind, saw Red Rocks, so I just went to concerts. Okay, so this is where a medium can it seem like a medium can mess up. So I say concerts, and then it was wrong, right? So I took a step back and told him, which it was my fault. I should have said, I see red rocks. Then he validates the fishing trip. So just an example of when you go to a medium to kind of be a little flexible when we see things. I just assumed it was a concert. My bad, but mediums do that stuff all the time. But to me, it makes me feel like you guys had a lot of good special times together. And I have to say this, it's not like there were a ton of them. Maybe he was busy, maybe you were busy, but the ones that you did have, they were amazing. Do you understand that?
No, absolutely.
Okay, and then who has the truck?
Me.
Okay. Make sure you pay attention. Oh, I got goosebumps. Woo. Make sure in 23 again is his the date. Okay, so I don't know if 23 connects a truck or you something with a truck, but oh, I'm not good with colors, man. Don't try. Is it white? I'm not good with colors, but
I used to have a white one, not
okay.
now.
I saw red and white, but I knew it wasn't together. Anyway, needless to say, I feel like he's trying to connect to you through the truck. I think you have something in the truck. I feel like you're in the truck a lot. I almost feel like that's your way to connect with him. Do you understand that?
Yeah,
And before we
yeah.
leave, is there an O name? Like Oliver, Oscar?
No.
Who's the grump then? Because they're showing me Oscar, the grouch. Who calls someone the
Oh,
grouch?
probably my brother, Greg.
Okay. Did he know him?
Yeah, yeah, they were tight.
Okay, I don't know if he's hitting him or messing with him, but he wants to like hit him or slap him or something. I don't know if I think maybe he'll be open to this, or if they called him the Grouch, or if he would take that name. If he is enough to take the name, then I feel like he'd be open to like him. I don't know if he hit him or messed with him, but he wants to mess with him. Okay, do you work with him too? Is he part of the
No,
company?
no.
No, I feel like you said he's got a business account. I feel like that Greg person may get involved somehow. That's what I kind of,
Okay.
I don't know if it's from a consultative perspective or a physical, I don't know what business it is, but I almost feel like there's a possibility. I also get the R name like Rich and then anything else, buddy? And then salute. So do you like drink a beer and salute to him or do a toast to him or something like that? Because I feel like he sees people toasting him.
We did on his 21st birthday last May.
Okay. And then how do you connect? So that was in May. How do you connect with January? Real quick. Sorry. Either
Uh,
someone named Janet, or the month of January.
no, don't know that one.
Yeah, you'll think it's something about the first of the year, and I feel like I would say either a happy birthday or a smile. There's a smile behind it. So when you do figure it out, please know
What-
he knows about the cheering, but also the Jan or January connection. There's a good feeling about it.
Yeah, my brother, the third brother, his birthday is January 29th.
Okay, is that another brother of yours?
Another brother. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Of
I just
mine.
he's showing. I don't know if you've gotten close, and I'm almost done here. Sorry. I don't know if you've gotten closer with him, with the brothers since he's passed, but I do feel like there's a need to get closer with the brothers.
Yeah, it's
I,
funny. I got a text today. I got a fly fishing float with all three of them. I'm taking them since I don't have my fishing buddy. I'm taking them with me.
okay, this is his way to let you know that he knows about that. And he also wants me to, he says, say what you said earlier, Daniel, about how we want them as parents to go do what they need to do because they'll be here. He must be funny because they'll be here soon enough. You're not dying anytime soon, but life goes so quickly. The reality, this avatar will be done soon, and then you and him can go on and go fishing in the universe. And I really believe that to be true. But when you're there with the brothers, give them the you that give them the you that you always gave them, even though he's not here in the physical. And I, as a father and as a human, I can understand how that would be difficult. I can't understand. I can imagine how difficult that would be. But I feel like him showing me the red rocks and the bringing of the brothers together and mentioning the brother's birthday and the other grouchy one is it's he wants you to go there and have fun and know that he's going to be with you. And I will. And if, can you do that? Can you give me? He says to me something about two. So either you're going to catch two fish or two different kinds of fish. So, and what I would tell you, last thing I promise, maybe when you fly fish, you can only catch one type of fish. There's going to be two different kinds, or you're going to get two of something, and that's just going to be a validation for you to let you know that he's with you and that what Daniel was saying is really me.
Okay,
And
great. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Elizabeth. Do you have a keychain of his?
Yeah, downstairs in his room.
Okay. Is it on your keychain?
No, it's not on my keychain.
Throw it on there. It's not like that you need that to have it on there, but I feel like part of you getting back to you is being able to look at pictures, look at the keychain, go fishing without them. Like we can see and feel the emotion behind it, and doing that with all of you and knowing that he's still with you. And I think that's what he wants for you tonight, is to know that you can do all that stuff, even though he's not physically here, he's still with you. Okay.
Yeah, I put his business logo and tattooed it on my forearm, as well as his cross. I tattooed it on my forearm.
Perfect. Yeah, take
Yeah.
that keychain, throw it right on yours. And I know that sometimes, or don't know, I can understand it might be difficult to look at pictures or have the keychain or maybe go fishing without him, but he's with you and he wants you to and wants you to have fun. And then uh, I'm getting the word, I don't know what it means, but paint it on there, or get it painted. And I know this is not the tattoo because tattoos come through differently. Go paint it. Are you going to paint something for him?
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to paint the wall here in the living room, and I'll put we were going to start he started an embroidery business. One of the companies we were going to start was making hats, and put the Colorado logo, and he was going to actually be the one to put the logo on the wall, and then we were going to put flies on there too. So yeah, that's what I'm looking
Go
at
do,
doing.
yeah, go do that. And you know why he wants you to do that? Because that's going to bring so much joy to you and to other people.
Yeah, great.
Well,
Thank you. I'll let you get on to somebody else.
hope it helped you.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it did. Thank you very much, Daniel.
this was incredible. And I
Awesome.
just want to say that Steve's a wonderful guy, so I'm really glad that he got this. I also just want to say that people are talking about how fun it is to see this reading, because um, the thing is that you get information that you have to interpret for the person that you're reading for. And it's so evident when you're talking to Steve that you're getting these different images or names, and then you have to figure out how they fit into Steve's life. And so this was a great demonstration to kind of get an idea of mediumship, but also of how we can start to do the same thing by seeing these images and being able to identify them with different important things. Nancy's saying, Daniel is so amazing. I've had the most validating information ever from my readings with him. My boys love him, especially Joey. And Nancy has two boys in spirit. Everyone's saying, great reading for Steve. Thank you, Daniel John. And then let's see, I think that the most important thing that everyone has to understand from this evening is that it's true that Daniel's very talented, but this is something that we can all do in part, and then maybe a lot as we move forward. The important thing is, again, raising our vibration and being able to understand that these signs are coming all the time, and that our kids are with us 100% of the time. They can do other things as well, but they can also be with us. And so it's wonderful to think that Steve's going to be going fishing with his two brothers, but he's also going to have his son with him the whole time. And do you have anything else that you would like to, words of wisdom that you would like to tell us, Daniel?
Yeah, you know what? A true teacher like Jesus, and if you read through scripture, you'll get it, or Buddha or Muhammad or any other of these, beautiful, wonderful souls who've come here to teach us about who we are. A true teacher will empower you, not tell you what is right and wrong. That's why a lot of times I preface myself with this is what I believe is from what I understand. But in the end of the day, you have the power Don't give it to anyone else. Don't think you need to go to, and I sometimes go to church, sometimes don't, but you don't have to follow any rules. And I'll say this, right? And I'm gonna be writing a book about this. But number one, there's three things in life that you can take away from all my experiences. Number one, there's something more. You can call it God, universe. There's something, and it knows what it's doing. If you put, and that's why I got this, right? It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all ways acknowledge me, and I'll direct your path. Think of that in a non-dogmatic way. There's something more, universe. Believe in it, and it'll guide you. You can't understand it. You can't navigate this thing by yourself. You need this thing we call God, universe, whatever you want to call it. That's number one. Number two, treat others how you want to be treated. A dog, a person, a plant, treat that energy as yourself because it's you. It's just you in a different form. That's number two. And here's number three, have fun. Just do it responsibly. Your soul came here to experience, smell the smells, taste the foods, listen to the music, feel the breeze, get stuck in traffic, change a baby poopy gross diaper, and find joy in it. Your soul came here to experience this world, and there are blessings in it. So you do those three things, even given what you've gone through, and there's little sub things to all of those. Life becomes, in your case, something that you can grow to understand and accept the beauty of.
Oh, that was just so beautifully said. Thank you so much, Daniel. And I agree 100%. The most important thing that we can do is, first of all, have fun. Second of all, treat everyone with kindness, anyone that we meet with kindness, and then realize that there's a higher plan that we can't do anything about. So why not just have fun while we're doing this and help as many people as we can along the way?
And can I add real quick, and I'll refer to the 82nd Psalm in John 10, 30 to 34. Jesus says, you are God's. In Luke 17:21, the kingdom of God is within you. You are God. You are a spark of God. All the answers are right in this little soul. Everything is in there. So my job here tonight is not only to share all these spiritual understandings with you, but is to empower you to find that light in yourself so that you can shine it. And in Eric's case, be a light and a helper for others. So you have that power. Don't let anyone else in the world or anyone tell you that you need to go here or need to do this. No, it's all within you. And the last thing is there's a great book called I can't think of it right now. It's the one where the guy goes off and then he comes back. It begins with an A.
He goes off and he comes back.
I can't think of it, but I'll post it. I'll send it to you and you can send it to the group. But the point of the story is the guy goes looking for something outside of himself and then finally realizes it's right there, right underneath his nose. So remember, you all have the power. As Elizabeth said, you all have the ability to connect to your loved ones. The Alchemist. Thank you, Brittany. It is called The Alchemist.
Alchemist, I love The Alchemist. Yes,
Go read it. It's amazing. But the point of the book, I feel like, is you have that power. It's within you. Just plug into that thing called love and life can become beautiful and amazing.
Thank you. This has been so wonderful, and it's always so nice to have you with us, Daniel. And for anyone who is not familiar with Daniel, he will be joining us at our conference next time, and we're so excited about that. And I think that most of you already are, but we'll have Daniel back and to speak about more information and maybe give a few more readings as well. Again, his books are fabulous too, just want to tell you. So thank you so much for being here. And
what a great evening. Thank you. And please come back again. Let's do this again.
We always ask everyone to unmute and say thank you and good evening. So if you'd like to go ahead and do so right now, go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
good
Thank
evening,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really
Take
appreciate you.
care.
My
Thank
class.
you. Thank you. That
Thank
was
you,
so
Daniel,
wonderful. Have
John.
a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye,